Dumbo Gets Mad. Elephant's at the door.
Hello, my needle drops. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. Gonna do an album review. I'm a little sick, but being sick's not gonna stop me. Before we get started, on theneedledrop.com, an audio review of that new Kills single, and also download a full mini LP from the band Brown Recluse. See a new music video from them, and also listen to the new Pains of Being Pure at Heart track, which is teasing toward their new LP coming out later this year. Excited, and I'm sure y'all want me to review it soon. Maybe, possibly, in the future. Okay. All right, okay, all right. So this is the day I've been waiting for, ever since a little song by the name of Plumie Tail came into my life, sent to me by an Italian multi-instrumentalist who sounds like he records himself on a reel-to-reel machine with some fat bass, cheesy synthesizers, and a cheap guitar. As you guys know, Plumie Tail climbed up to number 8 on my top 50 tracks of 2010 list, and since then the project has released another song, Eclectic Prawn, and this guy has somehow gotten his girlfriend involved in singing a handful of tunes on this album. So now Dumbo Gets Mad is a duo. They have an LP out titled Elephant's at the Door, and it's on Bad Panda Records. So what's going on here? I'd like to think behind every track here there is a song. Verses, choruses, chords, melodies, but each one of these songs is padded out with pitch-shifted falsetto vocals, really odd effects, strange sounds. Everything is piled onto these songs to the point where the songs get blurred. You're no longer listening to a track, but you're kind of on a sonic safari. This guy even cites recent releases from Gonja Sufi and Flying Lotus as influences for this album, and considering all the experimentation, it's not hard to see why. This thing definitely has a modern, adventurous attitude when it comes to sound, but it takes tons of cues from 60s psychedelic rock. But having said that, it's kind of difficult to pinpoint one specific sound or delivery on this album. Each track kind of has its own thing going on. Many of you have already heard Plumie Tail, but the track that follows right after is much more chilled out. Marmalade Kid's warm bass line, analog synth chords, and this drum beat that sounds like it could back up a hip-hop song from the 90s, with all of these weird electronics flowing in the background and just fat sounds. It totally reminded me of that new Gorillaz record. All you need is a member of De La Soul to come in and rap some verses in between the falsetto chorus vocals. The mayhem continues on the track Sleeping Over. The song opens up with the sound effect that you would normally hear in a flashback on a 70s cartoon show. You get a groove going, and then these pitch-shifted vocals just jump in without warning, the highest on the entire album. This must be what listening to an Alvin and the Chipmunks record on acid is like. Also in this track, you've got some sloppy saxophone, some bubbles that kind of jump around the mix, and these fluttering electronic blips. It's basically the point of no return. Overall, this thing is really indulgent, even in its most accessible moments, but for me it was worth it to kind of tough it out and listen through to hear the songs behind the mayhem, because the sounds are so good. It's a great listen on headphones because everything is panned really hard, like those 60s rock recordings where, you know what, you want to record 8 instruments or, just 9 different things, but you only have a 4-track, so you have to get creative. Put the guitar, put the drums in one track, pan them all the way to the left to make room for everything else in the center and on the right. Something like that. This thing is easily some of the most creative production I've heard in a while, and I'm not talking about shiny, pretty production like the new Kanye West LP. I'm talking about, holy shit, you did this by yourself? You go, girl, kind of production. I'm not trying to say I don't have complaints about this LP. I definitely do. These songs are so just packed tightly with everything but the kitchen sink. Listening to them one after the other is a little bit like running a marathon. It's a feeling I get when I listen to other albums that I like that really demand my attention, because there's so much subtlety, there's so many things flying by, you don't want to miss them, like Grizzly Bear's Yellow House, or any album written by the band Ruins. My only other gripes are that Harmony and Eclectic Prawn kind of sound alike, only that Harmony is a little bit slower. Plus I was having kind of an issue when listening to this album on the hi-fi at first, because the thing is, it sounded so cacophonous. The keyboards and the bass were really overpowering and like ruining a lot of these tracks for me. But then I realized, oh, duh, tape recordings lend a lot of low end to the mix. Turned down the bass, everything was peachy. Clear as a bell. Some of these tracks are going to jump out as being catchy instantly, but others are going to need to be flipped over, looked at closely, analyzed, like a Rubik's Cube. So, if you like your rock music experimental, psychedelic, sound rich, and out there, and free, I encourage you to check out this new Dumbo Gets Mad album, Elephants at the Door. I'm feeling a strong 7 to a light 8 on this. Yeah, some gripes, but overall, I really enjoyed it. And honestly, I'm really happy that the album panned out. I was really hesitant to enjoy this at first because I just thought, oh man, I love Plumie Tail so much. I hope the album can just like live up to the awesomeness of that track. And I'm just happy to say that for the most part, it did. But what's most important to me now is I want to know what you guys think about this album. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why? Favorite song? Least favorite song? Is it too experimental? Not experimental enough? Is it too psychedelic? Is it too weird? Let me know. And also, what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Dumbo Gets Mad, forever.